Hello, welcome to today's episode of Juicing the Numbers, your statistics and sports podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Joshua Tracy.
And I'm Corwin Heller.
And it is September 15th as we are recording this, just about 5:30 at night here on the East Coast. And that means that today is Roberto Clemente Day in MLB.
Shit, I didn't even realize.
That's right. And not only that, Corwin, but if you didn't realize that, I'm sure you also didn't realize that MLB is allowing players to wear number 21 on their jersey number today.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
They said it was specifically for the Puerto Rican born players, but other players could do it if they so chose. That felt like a weird line to kind of leave for people to cross, because then you have to look at people who aren't wearing 21. Like, was that a choice you made, or did someone say you couldn't, or did you just not know? Why not just make everyone wear 21? Weird choice.
It's one of those things where, like, I genuinely get it from MLB's perspective, where, like, the idea was probably, let's let all Puerto Rican born players wear 21 to celebrate Roberto Clemente, celebrate Puerto Rico. Oh, that's a great idea. Well, are we going to ban other players from wearing 21? What if they're already wearing 21? Let's just solve this problem right now, not answer any more questions, and just forget it existed, and just, like, let them do it if they want.
And we'll announce it on September 14th. They announced it yesterday. I saw this and was like, wait, what? You're telling me Roberto Clemente today is tomorrow, and we're just figuring this shit out now?
I bet there was some team that just didn't have enough 2s and 1s, like, in their equipment department to, like, make a new jersey in time for half their team, and some guy in the equipment room is just like, what the fuck?
Sorry, guys, the chip shortage is leading to a lack of production of 2s and 1s. We just can't produce enough 2s and 1s with this current chip shortage.
On a relatively tangential note, there's an actual shortage in steel right now because of, one, coronavirus, stopped a lot of production for a while, and 2, Amazon bought all the steel everywhere to build their distribution centers and facilities, and they're so massive and use so much steel, and they paid such a premium for it that they just bought it all. They basically just cornered the market in steel and just was like, we're buying everything, and if you're not us, you can't afford to beat our prices. And so everyone else is, like, fighting for a very limited supply now, and it happens to be affecting the production of golf irons, which is why mine are coming in 6 weeks now instead of, like, 2 weeks. Because fuck you, Jeff Bezos. That's all you need to know.
How Jeff Bezos is ruining golf by Corwin Heller. In this paper,
on another tangent, Jeff Bezos is looking into buying the Denver Broncos.
I did see that. And honestly, we shouldn't be surprised, because this has been a thing since at least the Don Sterling era of the Clippers. Because the whole reason Don Sterling bought the Clippers, and I think that's the right guy. I forget a lot of names, and I'm very bad.
Sterling is correct, yeah.
Okay. The whole reason he bought the Clippers is because someone he knew bought the Lakers and was like, yo, you little bitch, all the cool bajillionaires own sports teams. And Don Sterling was like, well, fuck that then. I'm going to buy the San Diego Clippers and move them to LA, because this is all about status. And so we should not be surprised that Jeff Bezos is trying to buy an NFL team, because I bet he knows someone. Well, he's Jeff Bezos, of course he does. But I bet someone said to him, Jeffy boy, why don't you own an NFL franchise? You went to space in your own personal rocket. Seems like a weird set of priorities. And he's buying it as a status symbol, the same way you would buy, like, a super cool piece of art, or like a laptop, like a new MacBook Pro. He's like, I will buy the Broncos.
What? No, this is like me going out
like
and
the horse?
Buying.
No, the Broncos.
To him, this is like me buying a new hat.
Honestly, I don't even think it's that.
Well, let's say he buys them and just $2 billion, worth a lot more than the Broncos are worth, but at the same time, you're not going to get a discount on sports franchises. Easy math as well. He's worth what? like $170 billion at this point.
Sure.
Cool. So that's not that much money. It's a good chunk of money. Don't get me wrong. It's $2 billion, but he's not, meal
Sorry,
prepping this
Corwin.
week
He is
because of
worth
it.
a 200.3 billion.
Go fuck yourself, Jeff Bezos.
Do you think if he bought the Broncos,
We should-
he would like turn the stadium into an Amazon warehouse, like partially? Like,
Yes.
welcome to Denver Broncos Arena and the Amazon warehouse pickup location. Stop by the ticketing booth to receive any packages and buy tickets to tonight's game. I should stop because I feel like if I keep talking, this is going to become a thing he actually does.
No, absolutely. Because he listens to us.
It's a fulfillment center. It's a fulfillment center and a fun center.
I think we should tell Jeff Bezos, like us,
To go
the
fuck
U.S.
himself?
government,
Okay.
should be like, Jeff Bezos, give us $100 billion and we'll give you the moon. You can buy the moon. And Jeff Bezos is like, yeah, every villain buys the moon. That's how, yeah, let's do it. I got money. And then we just send him to the moon and he could spend all the time up there that he wants. He doesn't technically own the moon. And we get $100 billion.
We should take the IRS should take Bezos to Amazon HQ and be like, all right, Jeff, we're going to force you to actually pay taxes. And we're going to increase your taxes 1 percentage point for every person we point at in this office that you don't know the name of. and just start pointing at his own employees and be like, Jeff, who is that?
And they just start with his secretary.
And
And
he's
Jeff
just gonna
Bezos is just like, fuck you.
Employee 69251. No, Jeff, that's Linda. She's
Is
worked
her-
for you for years.
Jeff, what is the name of your secretary? Woman?
I usually just say you there.
I don't
All right.
refer to anyone by name. I snap my fingers and someone's there. It doesn't matter who.
They are all physical Alexas to me. All right, let's get back on track. It's Roberto Clemente Day. That's really
Yeah.
cool. At the
I like
same,
him.
it is really, really great seeing a bunch of Roberto Clemente highlights because for one thing, they're fucking great highlights. God damn. The thing I think that is so easily forgettable or forgotten when it comes to players of that era is how great defensively they were. Because when you see batting stats, I think it's very easy to translate that in your mind.
Mhm.
But when someone says Roberto Clemente had a fucking cannon of an arm, you go like, because I think at least I am susceptible to buying into a little bit the whole like, they were worse athletes in the 60s and 70s. We're better today.
Right.
And then you see Roberto Clemente like launch a fucking rocket from the deepest pocket of right field all the way to home plate on like a no bounce throw to nail a runner. And you're like, oh, no. That's like an Aaron Judge quality throw out of a guy who is not Aaron Judge size because he's one of the greatest athletes of all time.
Yes, he is. It's one of those things where I wish I could have time travel, not to, end genocides, not to make myself infinitely wealthy. It's like just so I could bring like an HD video camera to like old time Pirates games and just be able to record that and bring it back and be like, now that we see how good they are in high definition, you can see that they are just as good, if not better, than players we have today. Welcome to my TED Talk.
Yeah, wouldn't you love to just hang out during batting practice with like him and Stargell and just like fucking vibe?
I mean, if we're going to batting practice, we're going to Babe Ruth batting practice just because that's something we need to confirm or deny. Just him. Just him.
Just knocking him out.
Yeah.
I will say it is great to see Roberto Clemente honored in this way by MLB, as I think it's always nice seeing players of past generations, even of current generations who receive special acknowledgement from the league. At the same time, I think that needs to come hand in hand with the off the field things of Roberto Clemente that are obviously very, very honorable that I often get lost in the shuffle or at least not raised up as much. I think everyone knows that Roberto Clemente passed away while trying to deliver aid to, actually, I don't think it was Was it Puerto Rico or was
It
it
was.
Cuba?
It was Puerto Rico.
It was Puerto Rico. Okay. I wasn't sure if it was another Latin American country. But passed away doing an aid flight because the resources that he had been sending over had been getting taken by the local government and weren't being distributed. And so he wanted to make sure that he was there and could be like, guys, quit fucking this up. Like, I'm like, give this to the people. But at the same time, like, there's a lot of facets to Roberto Clemente, the guy, that aren't just that one aid trip that really, can inform as to who he was as a person, as a ball player, as an immigrant, as an American, that I don't think get touched on as much. And it'd be nice the same way that MLB shares a lot of speeches of Jackie Robinson on Jackie Robinson Day, talking about how, race relations need to be improved around the league, around America, what have you, even though they don't often go into his more bold statements or his more controversial or more progressive statements. They at least do some of that. I think there needs to be some of that for Roberto Clemente too, who had a lot of thoughts and opinions on how we treated like the poor in America, or how he was treated as someone who was an immigrant and Black and Spanish first language and all that shit.
I thought you were about to lay it on me that Roberto Clemente was like an anti-Semite or like super racist or just
no.
an awful
if you listen
person.
to him talk, he's an even better guy than you already thought he was.
Oh, God bless.
If you listen to him talk, you're like, oh my God, dude, you rock.
If you started going into it, I was very close to just being like, I need you to stop. I cannot take this right now. I need you to not say it.
He is every bit as good as you think he is.
God bless.
Like, I was seeing videos of him today, because that's one of the best parts if you follow certain segments of baseball Twitter. The certain segments that actually like care about society. Like, they'll share a lot of videos that you just will never have seen. And I saw a video of Roberto Clemente talking about how he got treated as a Black Spanish person when he came to America, and how he wants people to be treated better and to reflection upon American society and like all that shit. And I was like, fuck yeah, Roberto. Like, I'm so sorry nothing's changed since then, but hey, like, this is awesome. Like, I want to see this. This is great. This is part of what made him one of the greats,
Absolutely.
So it is great though.
I'm imagining now just how impactful it would be for like the national hero of Puerto Rico at the time, Roberto Clemente, just the biggest figure in Puerto Rico, like the biggest role model for so many people, to have to come to your country with aid for your people, your fellow countrymen, and just give you this talking down to because you're either stealing or allowing these goods to be stolen. And just how that must feel, like having your role model, like the person you love more than anything, as a celebrity figure, be like, you're a piece of shit and I hate you. Give these people their goods.
It'd be like your mother comes home, you're taking 20 out of her purse. She's like, stop it. What are you doing? I use this for food.
I feed you. Oh, jeez.
I imagine that's what it'd be like. Like, imagine you're like one of the bad government guys. You show up to the tarmac, like, ooh, yeah, I'm going to steal some food from the government. And then Roberto Clemente pops out and he's like, knock it off, you fucking idiot.
No, I just imagine.
Sorry.
I just imagine the back door of like the ramp of the plane drops and he's just firing balls out there. Just
I imagine
rockets.
The door of the plane drops and he's standing there with his arms already folded.
Just disappointment.
Is just already like, guys, I had to come out here for this. Anyway,
it's not a short flight. I actually don't know. I have no idea how long the flight is.
And I think he left from Florida, so I think it actually was a pretty short flight. Like, I don't think he left from Pittsburgh.
Well, fuck.
And anyway, but it will be nice to see. I've watched a few of the games already today, and it is really cool to see the 21 jerseys out there. Because, seeing it also without the name on the back and seeing it with like the kind of unity of seeing a lot of them all in one place really adds to the magic. I mean, that's part of what makes Jackie Robinson Day so impactful, is seeing all those 42s and getting to, because first off, it's not a number you see anymore, 42, and to see everyone have it and to ditch the name on the back really makes you think about that number and who it represents and what that person stood for. And it really does have that same feeling for, for Roberto Clemente, which is why you and I have been like, why don't you do this? For years, we've been saying this. So it is very rewarding a feeling. So at least shout outs to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I know that there have been some NFL games that have happened so far, but there's really, I don't want to say there's nothing to talk about yet, but it's just that we are in the middle of such a fascinating point in the baseball season that I think I would rather spend, since we're going to have a slightly shorter episode today, spend some time talking about baseball. If you're wondering, why is this a shorter episode today? Well, you're anti-Semitic because it is Yom Kippur, and you should have known that, you dumb little bitch. So if you're listening to this, I'm hungry and cranky already. But yeah, so I have to like go make my meal before the sun goes down. Like I'm some kind of Cinderella ass motherfucker. No, yeah, Cinderella was the one with the shoes, right? It turned into the glass slipper and the carriage with the turns into a pumpkin.
I think they all wore shoes, but yes, that's the person you're thinking about. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't want to turn into a pumpkin. All right, so let's tackle some topics here. And let's talk about some of the teams that are around the, I don't know, playoff bubble, I suppose, and kind of where they're at with that. And let's actually start for once with the National League. So right now, I almost can't even believe it. And I was shocked to see it when it happened. But the second playoff spot in the National League, the second wildcard spot, is currently held by the St. Louis Cardinals. And I say that with a lot of like indignance in my voice, but it really is, they were not in it for so long. And it was so much focus on the Padres' rise and fall and on the Reds sneaking up that the Cardinals didn't even get first billing on like the underdog story. And here the fuck they are in a playoff spot. I mean, I can hardly fucking believe it.
I hate it mostly because I hate the Cardinals, and mostly, I guess I can't say mostly twice. That defeats the purpose of the word. Half because I hate the Cardinals, and half because it's not the Padres. But we'll get to that. I mean, good for them for getting here. Like it's hard enough as is, but my goodness, it's pretty crazy to imagine them really going out and being able to do a whole lot in the postseason with the team that they have right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that you and I openly mocked for trading for John Lester and Jay Happ at the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
And rightfully so. Since then, John Lester has a 4.3 ERA with the team, and Jay Happ has a 4.08 ERA with the team, which neither of which are like horrendous, but neither of which are great. Mm-hmm. But in this team, like it's being aced, the ace of the team. He's acing over there by Adam Wainwright, who's like 90. And Corwin, I want to see your reaction when I say this. Adam Wainwright has almost 100 more innings pitched than the next most innings on the Cardinals.
Can you repeat that?
Adam Wainwright has almost 100 more innings pitched than the next pitcher on the Cardinals.
So that it tells me
he's 95.
He's either the only healthy pitcher who has also pitched a fair amount, or is such an iron horse that there's nothing. I know which one it is for sure, but my goodness, that's an insane stat regardless.
Yeah, so it's a little column A, a little column B. He is one of the only, I think, 2 Cardinals pitchers that has not been hurt a significant portion of the season, and I think he's the only one that hasn't even seen an IL stint. I don't think he's missed a start yet this year, so that certainly helps. By the way, the actual numbers: Adam Wainwright 190.1 innings pitched, And then the second most on the team is Kwang Hyun Kim, who has 101.2. So that is I don't know, 88.1 innings, 88.2 innings fewer, some shit
Wow.
like that. But it's still very fucking significant.
Uh-huh.
And that's this is a team that has good pitchers on it. Jack Flaherty is a really solid pitcher that got hosed with injuries this year. John
Mhm.
Gant's been pitching well when he's been on the field. But really, I mean, the fact that Adam Wainwright has been a non-issue in regards to his injury with his age is just fucking astonishing.
Not just that he's been injury free, but that he's been an effective starting pitcher for this many innings at his age. And he's been carrying the team for a good portion of this season.
Yeah, I mean, he's been rock fucking steady. So he also has the best ERA of all the starters and the second best ERA on the team out of the main innings pitchers. The best ERA in the team is their closer Alex Reyes with a 2.86 ERA, but Adam Wainwright's ERA is 2.88. It is not much fucking higher. And the fact that
Mhm.
he's nursing a sub 3 ERA at the age of 39, but has his birthday passed already? Is he actually secretly 40? Tell me, Adam
I
Wainwright,
don't
how
know.
old are you? He is secretly 40. Yes. At the age of 40. Oh, his birthday was like 2 weeks ago. Way to go, Adam. You made it.
Proud of you,
It's
bud.
just fucking nuts. It's just fucking nuts. By ERA plus, this is, let's see, his oh shit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, seventh best season of his career at age
Wow.
40.
Wow.
Oh, and one of those, actually, hold on. A couple of these seasons I shouldn't even count because there's his best season by ERA plus, he pitched 28 innings before getting hurt. So that shouldn't even count. So really, this is at least the sixth best season of his career. There's a couple other short seasons in here. So yeah, I mean, all right, let me ask you this. Is Adam Wainwright in your top 5 Cy Young candidates for the National League?
Not before today. I don't know if he still would be today, but he definitely wasn't before now.
All right, so hold on. Let's look at the NL pitching leaders today. See who's got the most WAR. So yeah, he's not even in the top 10. Yeah, this is such a tough fight because it's Zach Wheeler with the most at 6.7, then Scherzer at 5.9, and Scherzer's got such a fucking case, man. Then Bueller at 5.7, Miley at 5.6, Burns at 5.3, and then Woodruff, last guy over 5 at 5.1. So I guess there's not really a case for him there, but it's still just so damn impressive, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, do you think
I'd
that
give it to Wade Miley.
I would love that as a Wade Miley fantasy baseball owner. Not that I get points for that. It would just be fun.
Imagine if you did though. That'd be cool.
That actually would be pretty cool. But at that point, it's basically just prop bet gambling. So, um, do you think the Cardinals are a team built for success in a playoff run? Because that's one of the other things that we hear a lot of that I actually do buy into a little bit. Like if the Padres could just make the playoffs, they could be built for a run because you don't have to have such a deep rotation because you don't need 5 starting pitchers. You usually only need 3, maybe a 4th one. And there's more rest days per week because of the time spent with travel days. And if you win your series, then there's time spent in between series and you can view it a little bit more as leaning on your offense, and the Padres have a great offense,
Add.
So I'm sorry. So, I understand a lot of the rationale behind the whole idea of it's a team that might not be seeing regular season success, but could be built for a playoff run. And this is another thing you hear about the Mets constantly. Do you think the Cardinals are built for a playoff run?
No, I just really can't see that. I just don't see how that team comes together and just performs. and performs consistently at a high enough level over the course of an entire postseason to make any sort of run. I just don't see that happening. I just don't see any, and like, who's going to step up for them? They have Nolan Arenado, they have Paul Goldschmidt, they have Adam Wainwright. I mean, yes,
Tyler
those
O'Neill's
are.
having a great season.
He's having a very good season. You're right, but at the same time, winning in the postseason is about having a deep rotation, and that's one thing they definitely don't have. And I just don't see the bats staying hot enough, for a month to be able to carry them into the postseason. Deep, I should say. They get in, they get in. Anything can happen. We know that, especially in a 1-game wild card, but it's tough.
I think the other part of it is that one of the things that's made them so successful has been defense.
Mm-hmm.
This has been talked a lot about, specifically with Adam Wainwright, because he's been inducing so much weak contact. And the St. Louis defense has been so phenomenal that he is the leader in outs above average for the defense behind him in all of baseball right now. Because, again, great defense, and he's been doing a great job with it. But it's true of the St. Louis Cardinals defense, whether he's pitching or not. They've got a great fucking defense. But I think it's a lot tougher to lean on that in the playoffs, because it's such a long-term build up type of thing. It's tough to see it make a short-term difference. Or it's tough to build a run on that. Like, I don't think you're ever going to have a really good run in the regular season or in the postseason on the back of phenomenal defense, the same way that you see runs happen all the time on the back of everyone in the lineup got hot at the same time, or you're hitting 3 home runs a game for like 6 days, or we accumulated as a team like 60 strikeouts on the pitching side in a week, which is just ridiculous pitching outings. Like, no one says out here where we've gotten so many outs above average this week that it's propelled us to success.
Like, over the course of a season, good, consistent defense saves you runs, wins you ball games. Things happen. In the postseason, when your best players need to make plays and it's crunch time, you need a run in the bottom of the 9th. You can't control where the ball gets hit to any discernible degree. Fernando Tatis isn't always going to get the ball hit to him so that he can go out and make a play, or the biggest play of the game is going to happen and it's going to go to him. It's up to him to make a play. You can't control that, and it's so wildly inconsistent because of that. You need a run. Fernando Tatis is at bat. He's hot. The pressure's on. This is where he plays his best. Okay. Great players make something happen there. You can't force anything with defense.
Right. I think that's really like the nail on the head there. There's no self-determination with it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Like, obviously you can't necessarily force a strikeout, but you can, you can't just pitch harder and sometimes you can, but you can't necessarily just go out there and like, I'm going to pitch harder. I'm going to, and get a strikeout. You can go out there and be like, we need a home run and get a home run. You can't be like, I'm going to get 6 double plays today. Like, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. You can't, like, Paul Goldschmidt can't walk out there and be like, I'm going to get like an unassisted double play in there today. I'm going to try to squeeze one of those in there. It just doesn't fucking work like that. Paul Goldschmidt can go up there and be like, I'm going to try to hit 2 home runs today. He probably won't, but he can say that to himself. And it could happen. He could be right. And he could be like, I willed this. And Adam Wainwright could go up there and be like, I'm going to have 10 strikeouts today. And he might not do it, but he could try, and he could do that. There's no way for Paul Goldschmidt to even try to have an unassisted double play without someone doing something else first,
or also
and everything
doing it out of the way, or going out of your way to do it in a certain situation and forcing it, and potentially, like, yes, you can force yourself to make one specific statistical play if the opportunity is there, but it's not at all ever going to be not ever, but it's not always going to be the best choice, the best option. You can go for an unassisted double play with 2 out, or I guess you couldn't with 1 out, or you could throw the pitch home and save yourself a run. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, there's too many variables,
right?
So many of which are just wildly out of your control for you to will a win on the side of defense. You can prevent losses from defense.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's the extent of it. I don't think you can win a game on the back of defense. You can only prevent yourself from losing on the back of defense.
And it's different because this is team defense, and as a team, they play good defense. But at the end of the day, it's like this is a game of 2 true outcomes at this point, or 3 true outcomes.
Yeah.
Defense doesn't have any input on any of those.
I think we're landing on the same point here, which is I'm not confident that especially since they're gonna have to face the Dodgers. I mean, there's good fucking luck. I mean, you're gonna if you're gonna beat the Dodgers, who has an amazing pitching staff, regardless of the defense behind them, you're going to have to be able to hit, which some Cardinals can, some can't. I also just want to shout out though that if the Cardinals win the World Series, that means that a man by the name of Lars Nootbaar also gets a World Series ring, and I kind of need a guy with the name of Lars Nootbaar to have a World Series ring. So,
can you explain who Lars Nootbaar is?
He is their right fielder and pinch hitter. He has an 88 OPS plus this season. It is his first year in the majors at 23. He has 0.1 WAR. And that is just an amazing name. And his last name is spelled Nootbaar. Nootbaar.
I don't believe that he's real, and I won't accept it.
He's real. He's fabulous.
Thank you.
Mova. Right. So we've talked a little bit in the past about the Padres and the Reds. It's been interesting because neither team has really pulled away with anything. In fact, in their last 10 games, the Reds and Padres are both 3-7. So both teams seem to be skidding kind of at the same time. And if you look one team below that, the Philadelphia Phillies, who are currently 3 games back from the wild card, they've also been 3-7 in their last 10. So there's not really a team that's reaching out to get it. The Mets theoretically could be in play here. They're only 4 games out, with the Rockies being the 5th team out, and they're 8.5 games back. And realistically, there's just not enough time for that. But even the Mets haven't been phenomenal in their last 10 games. They're 4-6 in their last 10. So they have the best record by a game, and their record's still sub 500 because they're just not playing pristine ball. And it's going to be a weird ending to this season if no team gets hot, because it'll be tough to look at the team that ends up making it, unless it is the Cardinals, because they've been good as of late. They're 6-4 in their last 10. But without a team, it seems like a team is going to get it because the spot's there and someone's got to win, instead of a team reaching out and snatching it at this point. So it's tough to even speak of the merits here, because it's like, if no one's winning, then what are the merits, you know?
Right. It's going to be an interesting postseason regardless. I just, I hope something fun happens, you know? I hope something fun happens where, like, if the Dodgers go to the World Series, okay, like, I can mentally kind of accept that that's a very likely thing that will happen. But at the same time, man, I really hope it's just 2 completely random teams just out of nowhere. That would be ideal.
Right. The only other thing I guess I wanted to ask about was what you think of our boy Yu Darvish has been not great throughout the past few months. His ERA by month in April and March, it was 2.13. In May, it was 2.2. June, it was 3.7. And then people are pointing to June because June was the month in which the MLB started cracking down on substance use. And in July, his ERA was 7.36. In August, it was 6.32. And in September so far, it's been 9.95. And he's been a huge reason why the Padres haven't gained ground in the wildcard standings recently.
Oh, I mean, there's so many reasons they haven't. Believe me, there's an endless number of reasons why they haven't. Um, it's I want to trust my boy you.
I
I
know,
don't
but
want him to
Corwin,
be a cheater.
in the last 3 months, June, July, and August, Yu Darvish has won one game. That's a huge, when he's the ace of the staff, that's a big fucking reason that the Padres haven't hit a stride. One game out of your ace in 3 months. And I know wins and losses is a relatively shitty stat, but honestly, the fact he has one win in there is kind of astonishing.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. It very much is. God, just there's been so much bullshit with the Padres of just the team collapsing as a whole. It's hard to just say, hey, this is you, Darvish's fault for not being the star of our staff. No one's been playing well. Blake Snell has turned his season around after being awful for most of it. Joe Musgrove's been pretty consistently good. Tatis has been consistently good. 3 players can't win you a playoff berth, especially when the guys that should be playing extremely well are playing extremely poorly. Um, you know, there's just so much bad going on. I don't want to put it all on you.
I get it. It's just it makes you. I think it's a little extra attention to it also because of the sticky stuff portion of it with the timing of his descent. Obviously, a lot of pitchers feel a second half stress because of the mileage you put on your arm in a given amount of time, and you is now one of the elder statesmen of a pitching staff. He's at the ripe old age of 34, so um yeah, there's actually 35. He also had a birthday recently. Fuck this bullshit. Um, wow, the fact that Yu Darvish is only 5 years younger than Adam Wainwright. I feel like they're from two different generations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's fucking wild.
Huh.
Anyway, it is a little bit of an extra talking point because of that, but I agree. It's not like it's his sole responsibility to bear. But all right, let's take you to the American League standings real quick because gotta get out of here relatively soon. So of the 5 teams in the American League East, 4 of them are fighting for a playoff spot, which is astonishing. So, as we all know, the Baltimore Orioles are still trash. They are still the worst team in the American League with a 46-98 record, well on their way to securing yet another 100-game loss season. Horrible sentence. But the rest of their division rivals are doing fairly well. The Tampa Bay Rays have the best record in the American League at 90-55. The wild card is currently really a 3-way tie in terms of win-loss percent, but the 2 spots are currently occupied by the Yankees and the Blue Jays, each with the exact same record, 81-64, with Boston statistically tied with them at 82-65. And then right behind them are Seattle, 3 games back at 78-67, and then Oakland at 77-67, 3.5 games back. And so there are 5 teams fighting over 2 spots that all have a rather good chance of actually doing something here in the down the stretch portion of the season to make it to the playoffs. And wow is really all I've got to say, because there has been some astonishing stories from this. I guess let's start team by team. It might be the easiest way of doing this. Maybe we'll start from the bottom and work our way up. Oakland's had a rough stretch. They're 3-7 in their last 10, and they're only 10 games over 500, which is odd from a team that has shown so much success and promise recently. But you'd think that with the pieces they have on their team, the bats that they've had, Sean Manaea having a really nice rebound season, that they'd be able to put something together, and then it hasn't just been there. Corbin Heller, what do you think the likelihood of the Oakland Athletics making the playoffs is?
Pretty low. I mean, believe me, they got cold at the worst possible time, and boy, they just seem ice cold.
Yeah, they do, don't they? I also don't. I'm not confident that they get there. And that's the tricky thing is that they totally could.
Mhm.
They're only 3.5 games out. It wouldn't take much of a hot streak. The problem with there being so many teams in this running is that their hot streak would have to be at least a 500 pace for everybody else.
Right.
And with how some of these other teams have been doing, adding in that and factor of you have to be good and something else has to happen, it's tough.
It's very tough. Just don't see it.
I'm not sure I do either, but keep an eye on it. All right, so let's take it to the next team then. The Seattle Mariners, who I cannot believe are slightly, but still, in a better playoff position than the Oakland Athletics as of today, but they are half a game ahead of the A's, and actually they're playing right now against the Red Sox in a game that will have kind of significant playoff standings. Their consequences, and that game is tied in the sixth, 3-3. Oh, goddamn! Wow, I love it. What do you think the Mariners' odds are on making this playoffs?
How many games back?
3 even.
Honestly, fairly
So
decent.
if they beat the Red Sox today, it's 2, I would think. Well, actually, it'd be 2.5 because that would also require one of the Blue Jays and Yankees losing today. But anyway,
But regardless, I like the Mariners, man. I want to see them do well. I mean, I don't. Obviously, they're not out of it. Obviously, it just takes a little bit of a push, especially after today, if they can pull it out. But there's a lot of good teams ahead of them that are playing a lot better baseball. And I just thinking about a long postseason run, I just don't think they necessarily have it.
how much of a fucking blast would it be if they made it, though?
Oh, I'd love it. I'd go and watch all their games.
Okay, hold on. I thought of a question for myself, but I'm going to make you answer it first. Who do you think the ace of that staff is?
You say Kikuchi?
All right, I'm going to ask it now 2 ways. Who do you think the ace of that staff is by innings pitched and then by ERA? I haven't looked at either because I'm wondering if it's the same person.
I bet it's Kikuchi for both. How about that?
It is not. Actually, it is the same guy for both. But that guy is Chris Fleckson. A man that I did not know existed before this season.
Is
And
he
I
even a
only know
starter?
he exists because of yeah, he's a starter because of fantasy baseball. But Chris Flexen leads the team in innings pitched with 156.2 and leads the rotation in ERA with 3.73.
Oh, that's not a great number to be leading your team.
Oh, hell no. No, this
No,
team will
that's
get
bad.
chewed the fuck up in a playoff series. They might be able to win a one gamer, win a wild card game just on, dumb luck and shit. But I mean, their ERA by starter, Chris Flexen, 3.73, Yusei Kikuchi, 4.23, Marco Gonzalez, 4.03,
It's having a much better
Logan
year.
Gilbert, 4.97, Justice Sheffield, 6.38, and then Justin Dunn, who's currently on the 60-day IL, 3.75. That's pretty fucking bad.
Was Justice Sheffield part of the Paxton trade?
Yeah, former Yankee, Justice Sheffield.
That worked out for neither team, really.
Yeah, because Paxton's back on the Mariners, but he's hurt all season, and Justice Sheffield's on the Mariners, and he's just not very good.
He wouldn't be in the Yankees rotation at all.
Well, Andrew Heaney has a starting job with us, so maybe.
Mm.
Anyway, yeah, I guess also, I guess actually Tyler Anderson now would be the ace of the staff.
Mr. Anderson.
3.67 ERA with the team since he's been traded there. So I guess that's
Not
something.
bad.
No, but you would hate this team in the playoffs because they would not be good. But if they made the playoffs, I'm not sure any Mariners fan cares.
Are there any that exist still? Are they still alive?
Yes, they are.
They're still
But
hanging out with the Orioles fans, Detroit fans, all those fans that haven't
no,
really seen
they're
them in a
all
while.
still around. But the only difference between Mariners fans now and Mariners fans in '01 when they last made the playoffs is that now Mariners fans are old enough to have a mortgage, and also too young to remember the last time the team was good.
Mm, sad, very sad.
Ah! That's right. Suck on that. All right.
I don't want to. I don't want to suck on anything right now.
So the Mariners probably are a long shot. And that brings us to the main three, the 2 through 5 teams in the AL East, the Yankees, Blue Jays, and Red Sox. Let's talk Red Sox, I guess, to start.
Yeah.
Does this team make the so Chris Sale has returned?
Yes.
That's been good for them.
Yes.
Let me get you his actual ERA because I didn't pull up their page at the time. What do you want? Preparation? I already have 9,000 tabs open. I don't need more. Since Chris Sale,
you sure you don't have any more that you want to just throw open?
Shit, that's right. Chris Sale currently back on the IL with COVID. Forgot about that tidbit. But since he's returned to the Red Sox, he's been 3-0 in the win-loss column with a 2.52 ERA in 25 innings. So it's pretty fucking good. Currently on the IL though, and not going to be able to help you immediately down the stretch anyway until he gets reactivated. But outside of that, Nathan Eovaldi has still been good. And after that, it gets scary. Tanner Houck has been really, really nice for them. And Garrett Whitlock's been good.
Yeah.
After that, it's tough. But as we've said every time we talk about the Red Sox, the batting's been great.
Yeah.
So considering they have to jump one of the Blue Jays or Yankees, just one of them, do you think this team makes the playoffs? And in spite of whom?
I don't, because I think both the Blue Jays and the Yankees hold firm compared to the Red Sox, at least. I just think those are two teams that will perform better. Like, obviously, it's jumping the gun here, but I just have a lot more belief in how both of those other teams are playing right now compared to the Red Sox.
It's oh my god, it's so fucking tough, man. So the Yankees and Red Sox have been relatively in line with each other in terms of their performance. And again, as of late, I mean, they are we're looking at 3 different ways of hitting basically the same win-loss record. The Yankees and Red Sox are 3-7 and 4-6 in the last 10 games, respectively. So they're both on slight skids, both looking to turn it around. Red Sox, I think, just won. I thought they just won a game recently. Did they just win last night? Did I make that up? Oh, did the Red Sox not even play it? Okay, they did win yesterday. Okay. I didn't make that up. I thought I did. And with the Yankees also winning last night, and their night before, and they're playing everyone's favorite punching bag, the Baltimore Orioles. So there's a chance they could turn around. But Toronto's at 8-2, and I don't see a single reason why they should stop losing games or stop winning games. They are firing on all cylinders. The pitching is hitting, the hitting is hitting, the fans are hitting, everyone's hitting. Everyone's hitting all the time. Everyone shows up to Rogers Center and hits. Everything hits.
They're hitting at a truly, like, no hyperbole, an unbelievable rate.
It is fucking mind-blowing. Is the best descriptor I can use. It is fucking stupid. It hurts my feelings how well they're playing, and I love it. I could not possibly get enough of it. I mean, everyone you would think would have a decent season there is having an amazing season there, and they're hitting their best stretch of the year at the same time. It's so fucking cool to see. There is a single player. No, sorry, there's 2 players on the team with a sub 100 OPS plus. That's it. That's it.
Their catcher,
Reese McGuire, 85.
Ooh, I don't know.
This one's very close. Yankee killer, though.
Troy Tulowitzki.
Oh, Randall Grichuk. 97, just on the cusp.
Before Mike Trout.
Yeah. But they've even gotten production out of their backup catcher, Alejandro Kirk, who has a 129 OPS plus. So depending how you want to draw lines, I mean, that lineup is just so fucking stupid. Um, and there's a larger conversation I was wondering if we'd have time to have, that we're probably not, about Vlad Jr. and his potential to win a triple crown and not get an MVP vote, which is a real possibility, but we might have to save that for another day.
When do they do that? That voting isn't for a while now, right?
Yeah, I think it's usually takes place like in like a week or so after the season ends, and then you don't find out the results until later on.
So we have time to really break it down.
Yeah, it's not. We're in no rush. But as it stands
Cool.
today, he leads all of baseball in home runs, all of baseball in runs scored. He does not lead the AL in RBIs yet, but he also leads the AL in batting average. So the three to look out for are home runs, RBIs, and batting average. But so he's 2 for 3 so far. Who does lead? I'm not gonna look it up. It's not worth the time. We have very little of it. So I see I think the real competition here, even though the Blue Jays have the exact same record as the Yankees, it's going to come down to Yankees Red Sox. I think whatever game ends up being played in the wild card game is going to involve the Blue Jays. It's really just a question of who figures their shit out first, and that's what I think the real race is. Because if you're working for the Yankees, or if you're working for the Red Sox, I think that at this point in the season, you have to assume that the Blue Jays are making the playoffs, and you just need to turn your shit around before the other team does.
And I just don't see how a team can do that to the White Sox right now. Not the White Sox, the Blue Jays right now. Jesus. I just don't see a team overcoming that.
Absolutely. Now the Yankees are trying to do their best with making some adjustments. They move Gleyber Torres off from short to second to try to improve infield defense as a way of trying to help bolster the pitching, because as we all know, infield defense always comes back to help or hurt your pitchers. Sure. If you let up a ground ball to the shortstop directly, you are, as a pitcher, kind of banking on that for being an out. And not only does that increase your pitch count when that becomes an error, or even something that's not marked as an error, even something that's marked as like a fielder's choice or an infield hit, whatever the case might be. Mm-hmm. Not only does that get to your pitch count, it also gets to you mentally, because you think to yourself, that should have been an out, that should have been an out, that should have been an out. And, pitchers are people too, no matter what Corey Kluber thinks. And it can affect you. And so they're trying stuff out like that. And the Red Sox are obviously trying to just, I think, maintain. They are a good team at their core, at least with their batting, and trying to just make the right calls pitching wise for whatever they can. But that's the real race. That's the real race, those two. Man, it's
a hell of a race. I'm so excited.
I hate it. I hate it so much. I don't want to live and die by individual games. I don't like it. And if the Red Sox don't make the playoffs, I think people are going to be like, oh, well, that's unfortunate because they put together a nice season, but how could you have expected a playoff berth out of this? Right. Whereas the Yankees, it's like, you guys had a 13-game win streak. You guys spent all this money in the offseason. You guys made some decently questionable roster decisions. And for what? To not even make the show?
Show for it? Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah. So it's much higher stakes on the Yankees, I would think, at least from an optics perspective.
Agreed.
You have any other thoughts on the AL wildcard race as of right now?
No, I want to see it end.
20 short days, my friend.
Yeah, 20 short days. I'm sure they'll be the shortest days of all time.
I'm horrified with every fiber of my being. All right, well, then we're going to wrap it up here so I can go make some dinner. If you want to follow the show, you can do so at Juicing Pod. If you'd like to hit us up via email, you can do so at juicingthenumbers@gmail.com. And if you'd like to hit up Corwin on Twitter, you can do so at Corwin Heller. And if you want to hit myself up on Twitter, you can do so at Joshua D. Tracy. Until Monday, y'all have a good one.
Bye.